And you are live. Welcome to everybody on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. I got a few guests with me, and there's a couple more popping in. And we all did time together in Florence Federal Prison Camp. We're here tonight to answer your questions all about life in a prison camp. And hopefully you guys come on, and there's lots of questions. I know I got 5 people I've been talking to, all got to turn themselves in to Florence Federal Prison Camp within the next 2 months. A couple of you guys are got to turn yourself in this month. So I got Chris and Jason, and I'm waiting on Tom and Mac and Hugo and maybe Alex. Anyways, here comes one more right now. And now there's 4 of us from Florence in the room. Hey, Tom, how we doing? Tom, I just went live, and I'm hoping some people come on here. But this video actually will rerun as soon as we're done.
Told about the DTR test that I called in about
and
a couple of months
ago. See if I can mute him for a minute. Take a break, Chris. I'm muting you for a minute. I'm just going to mute Chris until he gets back. So anyways, you guys want to say hello to the audience out there? Maybe just say hello and get your first names, guys. That should be enough. And here's some questions coming on here. We got Wayne, old friend, says hello, everyone. Hey, Wayne, how we doing out there? So, Wayne, now if you want to talk to guys who've been in a prison camp, here's your chance. There's 4 of us on here right now. And, Chris, I'm going to unmute you. Now you're on the phone still? And we got Eric's in the room. Hey, Eric, how we doing out there? They're starting to pop in, guys. I put a notice up this morning. So you guys want to say hello to everybody and just, whatever you want to talk about? We'll start with Jason. You want to start with you? Just introduce yourself.
Hi, guys. I'm Jason. I did a total of 6.5 years on an 8.5-year sentence for white-collar crimes, conspiracy to commit wire mail fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering. I started out at a low, actually, because I had an outstanding warrant in Texas, but I fought that through the mail, got it dropped, and then I was able to move to a prison camp where Mr. Cowgill was actually my bunkie for a little while.
That's right. We were cellies for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it was a long time to be away while I was incarcerated. Both my mom and my stepdad passed away, and I was not able to attend either of their funerals. So, but even though it was a long time, it wasn't really hard time. It wasn't anything super terrible. I've never gotten a single altercation or fight or anything the entire time that I was in. Never really had problems with anyone. So
camp, would you say prison camp is a safe place to do your time?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Listen, I got a few people that popped in, and 2 of these guys are coming into Florence. I want to say hello to them. I got Josh Cordova out here. Josh is turning himself in, I think, February 7th to Florence. And then we got Frank. Hey, Frank, how we doing? And Frank's in Tijuana on pretrial, but he'll be going to Florence Federal Prison Camp, too. And then I got Harvey Talks Prison. Harvey's got his own prison channel. He did 29 years in Missouri State prisons. He's got a great channel, guys. Check him out. Harvey came on board last year with his channel. It's growing. If you want to know about the state prisons, they're doing hard time. Harvey didn't go to a camp like we did, guys. And he's a good dude. He came out. He's very humble, and he's trying to turn his life around. And Harvey's on the right track, too. So I just want to say hi to all you guys out there. So feel free out there, Josh and Harvey and all you guys. You guys talk to me all the time. These are other guys I did time with. So, ask your questions. Chris, you want to go next? Kind of just briefly introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Chris. I'm actually going to be 70 years old in March. I served, my sentence was 5 years and 10 months. I did, out of that, I did the mandatory 85 plus 1. And that's not really accurate either because of the RDAP program that took me out 6 months early, actually. So I was at Florence with these guys. I can honestly say I had no real issues. I think anybody going into the system, the biggest thing that you're going to have to face is the different cultures, the way people in their cultures think, and not only their cultures but their subcultures. Like, for example, if someone's Mexican and they were in a cartel situation, or they were working toward a cartel situation, they were literally a nobody, but they were sucked into that because it's really what they know, and they have either limited English or no English. They have different customs and beliefs and different idiosyncrasies that we would probably not have in our own cultures. So you kind of have to get used to that. Like, I think the hardest thing for me to get used to, and because it made absolutely no logical sense to me whatsoever, the hardest thing for me to get used to was a lot of the drug guys that came out of Mexico would get their hair cut literally once a week. It was a big thing, and it drove me freaking nuts. That was one of the hardest things for me to get used to, because your hair is not going to grow in a week.
Chris, I remember one time you came back from the barber shop.
Yeah.
They gave you a pice haircut with the crease.
Yeah, you remember?
You were so pissed off, man. And you
couldn't believe it.
Out of prison.
And they cut my hair like I was a paisa, and I went, "Oh man, you got to be shitting me!" But there's not a lot you can say. But those are the things that you kind of get used to, and after a while, and let's face it, after 2-3 years, you get kind of used to that stuff. But those are those are the hardest challenges, is these little things that we never consider. They drive you freaking nuts, and you go, how the hell does anybody even live like that? There's different things. So you kind of have to get used to the different cultural issues that go along. Hey, Tom, with all these different people, and you kind of just like have to let things roll off your back. Another thing that I found is that you can't be yourself. You really can't be yourself. I have a little bit different background than most of you would, and when I speak fairly clearly. And you remember the Chinese guy, or the Thai guy, the big dude? What was his name?
Min.
He was all
Me?
Yeah, Min.
With all the tattoos?
Min. Yeah.
Min.
He was real. He was an enforcer for a Thai group, I believe it was. Not Thai.
Min. His first name was
Vietnamese.
Min or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Vietnamese, and he was real.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was, he was career everything, but for some reason he and I got along pretty good. But at the same time, he was constantly reminding me that my syntax, my speech was too highbrow, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what to say. I don't know how else to talk. This is how I talk. He says, you got to talk some more simpler, because people just don't, they don't get it. And I'm like, I don't think I'm doing that, but okay. But yeah, it was kind of funny to listen to him explain this stuff to me. And of course, being a little older,
he's used to a different kind of prison. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, he's completely used to a whole different type of world. Yeah. But the point is that you cannot be yourself. You kind of have to be flexible in your personality and your exchanges with people. Some people are going to have some very eccentric little personality traits. Some people are going to have cultural personality traits. You just have to open your mind up and just kind of accept them. And you may not like them, but you really can't jack them up about it, because then you're going to cause problems for yourself. The other thing
I got different ways around different people. You know what I mean? He kind of was a chameleon, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that's going to be very hard for people to get used to in the very beginning, and if you can just glock onto these things, you're going to be fine. Almost everything you eat is going to suck. The food sucks in general. It sucks.
No, it didn't. See, got different opinions. And we worked in the culinary.
Yeah, I mean, I cooked it, and I know it sucked. I looked at the ingredients and said, to my standards, no, don't get me wrong, guys, you can eat it.
We had lasagna and meatloaf and roast beef and baked chicken. All that stuff was decent, man.
Yeah, there are some things you can eat that are good, but the stuff the general population is going to get is not going to be the kind of stuff that we would doctor up in the program. But, I mean, you're going to get used to eating some things that you're like, wow, where's the flavor on this? So it's going to shock you. And you just have to get used to that. The flavor's going to be a little different. It's not going to be like home. And then, you have to look at other things that you deal with, like, what do I do with my downtime when I'm not being assigned to a job? So you put up with certain little boredom things, and you kind of find sidelines. I think Jason made yogurt. That kept him busy. God, I remember that.
Muscle, yes.
Yeah, I remember your yogurt.
Guys, let me get some of these comments, and then I don't know where Tom went. Let's see here. Harvey's saying, Harvey says it sucked not getting to go to funerals. He's relating to you, Jason.
Yeah.
And and he was in a state prison. I don't think they ever get out for funerals there. And
I think it depends on the state, but you are right. It's rare.
Here's somebody else. A comment. Jason, Wayne's old friend says, sorry to hear about that, Jason. That is very sad. So you can see the comments too, right, Jason?
I can.
Yeah, they pop up. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of things you have to get used to that you're just not going to be. You're not going to have, and you have to get used to really just resetting your mind to getting along with different people in different issues. Put that cigarette down before you kill yourself.
I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going.
I don't care if you're going up on. I don't care if you're on the second floor.
You just had
Range 8 bathroom.
You're going up to that bathroom on the second floor. Next to my dorm, and I don't care. Put the cigarette out before you kill yourself. Those are all this other things, guys. You're gonna get used to the other stupid shit that goes on. You're gonna see people do some of the dumbest fucking things, and they get more time. And you're going to say to yourself, why would you be a runner and risk getting another year so that you could have a pack of cigarettes to smoke? Is that pack of cigarettes really worth all that? You're going to see a lot of stupid shit. I think Jason and I got in a conversation one time when we were there about just that, about somebody being a runner and how stupid they were to get caught. There were two of them, if I remember right. One of them got caught and the other one hid from him for a while, and we were laughing our asses off. That son of a bitch ended up working in the kitchen with me. And I remember him serving food, and he was putting an extra scoop on the dish, and the guard came in and he says, "Here you go, my brown brother." And the guard says, "You ain't brown, you ain't black, you ain't white. You my slave. Shut the fuck up and serve the meal. One scoop." But they just got used to different stuff.
I don't know the answer to. You might know, Chris, I don't know if you know, how do ex-military war vets get treated or viewed? Josh is asking that.
Really and simple. They don't get any preferential treatment whatsoever. They get recognized.
Some of the correctional officers are ex-military too.
They get recognized.
Inside they respect you, but they're not going to let you know that. I don't know.
They don't get recognized for anything other than they were in the military. From the guard's point of view, you're somebody to keep a closer eye on because you're trained. From the inmate's point of view, you're somebody to keep an eye on because you weren't part of that group. No matter what you got busted for, you weren't part of the drug runners. You weren't part of the shammers. You weren't part of something else, that was illegal. You had a background supporting law and order, basically, but you weren't a cop, so you weren't, people didn't talk shit. But the other inmates, you're not gonna have any problem. You're just another guy. And remember, what you don't want people to know about you, you don't have to tell them. You don't have to tell them unless, you're like me, where I was in the yard one day and I was walking, and this guy walked up to me. He's out here in San Pedro, a guy from El Salvador originally, and he walks up to me and he says, "Were you in Germany in 1992 in the winter or something like that, around in there?" And I said, "Yeah, why?" He goes, I knew it was you. He goes, you're a spook. And I went, what? I said, dude, I'm no spook. But he was right. That's where he knew me from, because I was attached to an ambassador's attaché staff at that time, and he was in the military, attached to military police, and we were doing security clearances, and so he was right. But you see, those people, you're going to be surprised who you see and who you meet. So you don't have to tell anybody anything you don't want in a situation like that. You know, hey, it wasn't important for me to tell you. Why did you need to know? And just get along.
If I
Tom,
could,
back. Tom, you want to real quick introduce yourself, and then here's a question for you. We're talking about Tom.
Yeah, this is Tom Keesing. Good to see you, gentlemen. I had a little trouble getting on and then got froze out and then tried to do it back on the computer. So I'm on my cell phone, so I apologize for that. But I've been out a little over 3.5 years now. I did 34 months at Florence, and I was a white collared guy, and I had a fairly good experience there. But there's a lot of things you need to know to make it easier. And Chris has been talking about some of those things.
Yeah. So we got a question on the board. Tom, how do ex-military war vets get treated or viewed?
I want to chime in on that one, Sean.
Okay, Jason, go take it away.
I didn't really see it at the camp, but when I was at the low, the military guys had their own car that superseded race or anything else.
Oh, really?
Yes. Wow. And so all of the ex-military guys hung together, and certain ones were not accepted based on the crime. If anyone has read the book Black Hawk Down that they made the movie from, one character was left, or one of the actual people from that event was left out of the movie. His name was Specialist John Stebbins, and he was left out of the movie to avoid embarrassing the military because he had molested his daughter.
Oh shit!
And he was at the low in Ohio where I was, so he obviously wasn't accepted into the car. But overall, the military had their own car.
Wow, that's right, Jason. I forgot you went to a low first and then a camp. So you guys out there, if you have questions about a low, Jason's the guy to ask. Tom, I got lots of comments coming on the board here. Tom, did you want to answer that one? Or shall I go on to the next one, guys?
Go on the next one.
Okay. We got Wayne's old friend says, what if your wife doesn't want to fill out the financial forms for restitution? Her lawyer said, since we live in a community property state, they will lose the restitution payment on her income too. Now, I bet all you guys can answer that. Tom, you want to start with that one, and then we'll go to Jason, and then we'll go to Chris.
Repeat that. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
What if your wife doesn't want to fill out the financial forms for restitution? Her lawyer said, since we live in a community property state, they will base the restitution payment on her income too.
Wow, I didn't have a wife, so I didn't have to experience that uncomfortableness. But they put, when you get restitution, that goes to the wife and the husband, and in New Mexico, there's no way to avoid that. So the wife would still be required to pay the restitution, and her assets would be seized if they chose to. So it's a horrible situation if you have restitution and you have a wife in New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that, because I know Josh, and he's from here, and he was worried about that. So Josh, I know you. I think you're coming up. He's on here still. You hear that, Josh? So yeah. Anyways, well, I know you got Josh's number, Tom. You were going to talk to him. That's something you guys can discuss.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Jason, you want to take that question?
Okay, well, my ex-wife was actually a co-defendant, and so they hit us with restitution jointly and severally. So basically that means there's a large chunk of restitution, and anything that either of us pays goes toward that account, and it's not divided up equally or anything else. It's this is the amount that's owed, and anything that's paid goes toward it. So it's actually pretty common. I guess
had no clue, man. I didn't know anything about this part. Wow.
I guess the assumption is that, if you were making a living off of some form of criminal enterprise, she was benefiting from it too. So even if she's not going to do time, she's still financially obligated to pay it back.
Wow.
And restitution is not, you cannot extinguish it through bankruptcy. It survives bankruptcy. So it's a brutal, I know a lot about it. I have a huge restitution number and a huge tax number. And basically I am financially dead. I have no financial ability to make any money at all. Anything I make, they get 15% of, but any assets I accumulate, they could seize. And so it's a very ugly picture when you have financial restitution. There's not many remedies. There's a lot of people try to work around it, but I've never seen anyone prevail.
Wow. Wayne's got a follow-up question. Can I get in trouble if my wife doesn't want to fill it out? I feel awful to get her involved in this mess. I think you guys are answering that right now. Chris, you have a
I was assigned restitution. 3.1 mil is all I got. I mean, that's not really a lot when you compare to other guys that were involved in white collar. Some guys were, 5 and 10 mil, but my situation was pretty well established from the beginning because we were offshore, and I had sent, or she sent herself. My wife had sent herself back to the United States to reestablish an American residence. We actually filed a legal separation. When we filed the separation, we followed it up with a divorce. You remember me doing the divorce papers?
I remember that part, yeah.
Okay. So I filed the divorce from prison, and when I got back out, restitution had already been assigned. But, it's hard for people to understand it. Talk with your attorneys, because Tom made some very good points there, and believe me, he would know. He truly would know. But one remedy might be for your wife, before anything else happens, files for divorce.
So if the wife files for divorce, guys, is she clear? Does she get out after
Maybe.
In my case, that's what worked. So on top of that, she also had another guy and had a baby with him. So, that made the picture very complete, that she was not interested in anything furthering with me, or at the time, because she was in the United States when they actually charged and extradited. So that got rid of her from having any exposure to restitution. So, you might speak with your attorney about that, get legal opinions on everything. But I don't know, Tom, did you explore that part? Because Jason, you and
I don't know if Tom's there. He's having
right?
problems. Hey, I just want the audience to know there's a bunch of questions. I'm going to get to them all, guys, so don't think I'm ignoring you. We're going to get to you.
I asked Jason. Jason, you were already separated at the time, weren't you?
No.
You guys had 2 separate lives going, right?
We were separated, but we were still legally married. Let's see. I guess
you guys had, if I remember right, when you were telling me, you guys were still married, but she had moved out and she had her own thing going on with the kids, and you were in one place and you were visiting back and forth, but you really didn't have a relationship with her.
Right. Yeah, that's correct. We were separated, but we were still legally married. And so
that bond is real, then it's there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the next one. The next one, Harvey Talks Prison says, food sucks in state prison.
Yeah. Unless you're cooking it, it sucks.
I didn't think the food was bad at Florence. I thought it was like high school cafeteria stuff. There were some awful nights, you know what I mean? And some of that chicken fried rice never had chicken in it and things like that. But you
Hey,
know,
when you open
it was
when you
edible.
open packages, Sean, and I know you opened them. We were opening packages out at the 8X, right?
Right,
You know,
right.
the United States' most secure prison. We're storing food in there, and then we're doing produce, frozen, refrigerated. And we didn't see it so much, but we did see it a couple times where it said not fit for human consumption.
Yeah,
The boxes.
yeah, and
Then when I
that's very
transferred back
common
to
in
the
in a
camp,
county jail.
yeah, when I went back to the camp, I saw those boxes, and it was basically turkey, or not turkey. Ground turkey was probably the safest thing.
I got to put this comment up now, guys, because this guy's using, it's called a super chat. And so he just donated $4.99 to the channel. And you see how it's in green. So when somebody gives me a super chat, they go right to the front of the line. And I want to thank you very much, Wayne, for helping out me in the channel. Very much appreciated. He says, thank you to your guests, Sean. I think he means guests. It was very useful information. Thank you, Wayne's old friend. Wayne's becoming a regular on here. Thank you, Wayne, for the super chat. Thank you very, very much. And now I'll get back to where we were. I love it. I love these questions that people are participating, man. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. Harvey's got another one. Most vets are treated with respect in state prisons. So that's good to know. That's good to know. That's what Harvey says. And here we got Josh. Even better, just want to ensure there was no difference. And Harvey's got, yes, guards don't care if you're a vet or not. So he's agreeing with you, Chris. TJ's in the room. Hey, TJ. TJ's a regular here. TJ says, I'm a vet and I was treated with respect only by other vets and COs who were vets. TJ did some state prison time, and now he's going to go do some federal time like 20 years later. I hate to put you on blast, TJ, but I wanted to explain your comment there because you were a vet and you were treated with respect. And that's here. He says that's state prisons anyways. And but TJ's been asked. We talk on the phone a lot, and he doesn't know much about the federal system. He's got some buddies and stuff that done federal time, but he's been reaching out to me, man. Thank you, TJ.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
Sean. With TJ and everybody else. And TJ, thank you for your service. Good kudo, Harvey. Thank you for bringing that up. The thing that you have to remember is that the prison system on the federal side, it builds itself on, we don't care who you are. You're going to get treated the same as everybody else, no matter what. You're going to wear the same shoes. You're not going to have a special cell. You're not going to be like in the 1930s, the 1940s, the 1920s with Capone and Genovese and all these guys that, had hot and cold running hookers. I mean, let's face it. Jason probably knows this better than me because he was up in the dorm that had a lot of the guys that did the running, and they brought in booze and drugs, weight loss pills, all that shit. Those guys were living in his dorm. And so there's no way you're not going to hear the stories. But as long as you keep your mouth shut and you don't walk around and go, well, yeah, man, I was in Afghanistan and I clipped these two dudes, and then I nailed this other motherfucking grenade or some shit. They don't really care. They don't want to hear that stuff because the truth of the matter is they can't call you a liar and they can't step up. You know what I'm saying, TJ? They can't step up and be who you were. So they don't want to hear about what a badass you may have been or not may have been. So the military can hurt you in sentencing. It's not going to hurt you out there. A lot of the guards that come out of that, but come out of the military. So you just, in our camp, both Sean, Jason, Tom, they all know we had the undersheriff of Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department as a town driver. But he didn't start out as a town driver.
Right. Yeah. I remember him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this guy is the second in command of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. He was 28 years or something like that. That's almost a 9,000 person police department. You would think that he would get some actual better treatment, but the point of fact is anybody who was a cop or related to law enforcement, military, they all have the same concept, and that is that you should have known better before you got yourself in trouble. Fair or not fair, that doesn't matter. That's where the consideration is in sentencing. Now, on the vet side, in court, my experience has been in seeing other people sentenced, when they bring up your service record, as long as you weren't involved in the service with like military police or law enforcement or investigations, it did weigh in. It meant something. And you did get a little bit of a spiff out of that on the sentencing. That's what my personal observations were. I was in the Los Angeles Metropolitan Detention Center for 9 months. Believe me, I saw a lot of guys come through there with sentencing. They were ex-vets and ex-military, and they actually did a break. And again, that depended upon the charges. So there you go, TJ. I hope that helped you.
TJ with a $10 super sticker. Thank you, TJ. God bless you, TJ. TJ's got a bunch of questions, so he gave me the super sticker. So he's got 3 questions here. So let's go to TJ's the man right now. Says, I'm still waiting to be sentenced. I hope this COVID doesn't push my sentencing out. I'm ready to know my fate. You guys know that feeling when you're waiting to get sentenced?
Yeah, I waited for 9 months, and I finally got tired of the Metropolitan Detention Center before it drove me fucking batshit crazy, you know? So I finally accepted a deal that I refused to accept from them, wanting to get a better deal. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get much better of anything. The longer you wait, the more they think they have you, and the more they think they have you, the tougher it's going to be on you because you're costing them fucking money.
Jason, you were detained while you were waiting for sentencing, right? You didn't get out on you. Correct. Both you guys were, because you guys were flight risk. Because a lot of guys are out, at home on pre-trial home confinement kind of thing.
Hey, let's clarify flight risk, okay? There's a number of categories for flight risk, buddy. Yeah. When they say that, and that's part of the problem, TJ, in sentencing, they'll use words. Jason was a flight risk, the same as me, because we both had money. We both had connections to offshore, in other words, other countries. We both had established ourselves in other countries and had resident term there. So we were considered a flight risk because they knew that we had the ability to be able to do that somewhere else. It's not because
we're exactly right. I was actually arrested overseas, so I was considered to be a flight risk because I had those connections. I had a place to go,
and he had cash to back his play. Mm-hmm. Okay, TJ. Hope that helped.
He's asking Tom. Hey, Tom, my PSR came back lower than my plea. It came back at 4 to 10 months. My plea was 8 to 14 months. Your PSR. So pre-sentence report, guys. I know when you guys are detained and locked up, I don't know if you get to sit down with a probation and a lawyer and do your pre-sentence report while you guys are locked up, or is that done for you, or do you guys remember?
What happens in his situation is the plea and the PSR overlap from 8 to 10 months, so he'll get something in there.
Okay, they overlap.
Yeah, he'll get 8, 9, or 10.
So they went down, which is a good thing, right?
Right. I mean, his PSR gives his sentencing guidelines. His plea agreement is a discretionary deal between him and the court, basically. So he agreed to do 8 to 14 months to the court, but then his guidelines say 4 to 10. So he's going to fall somewhere in that 8 to 10 range.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate.
So how about a guy gets a plea deal for 5 years, and now they dig up some dirt before sentencing, and they find out he did all these other crimes, but they forgot to put it in the plea deal and they want more time. Are they kind of shit out of luck because he already signed the plea deal?
Go ahead, Jason.
That depends. I mean, it depends on, okay, the idea of a plea agreement is you're afforded a certain amount of protection in the court. And in exchange for that, you're not putting the court to, you're not forcing them on the burden of proof. All right. You're just saying, okay, fine, I'll own up to what I did, but I want something in exchange. And what that exchange is some kind of protection. Like in my plea agreement, it basically said they can't come after me for tax. So I mean, there is a certain degree of protection there. Now, if you pled out and your plea, and there's a guideline code for the plea. It's I can't remember what it's called. It's a C1 something or other plea. Basically,
13509.
What's that?
Did that sound familiar? 13509. C13509.
Something like that. That does sound right.
It rings in, yeah.
Most plea agreements fall under that guideline, and unless the government specifically says it doesn't, and that guideline more or less says, you know, this is all we're getting you for. If more crimes are discovered later, well, too bad. They've lost their chance to prosecute them. So now the only issue with that is generally when you plea out, part of your actual plea to the court, you're saying that you've told them about all your criminal history, that you're not holding anything back. So if they discover other crimes, they can turn around and say, well, you lied in the court and therefore your plea is invalid. And then you're really.
Yeah, that sounds like something they do. Yeah. That's for sure.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say this, guys. I am not an attorney. I'm only speaking directly from my own personal experience. And so please don't construe anything I'm saying as counsel. If you have these questions, definitely talk to your attorney about them.
Yeah, with furthering that, with my particular case, my agreement was actually.
I try never to give legal advice. I only speak from experience, and
Sean, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. In my particular case, my agreement, and I'm glad that Jason said it because it reminded me. My particular case, my agreement was set between the State Department and a foreign soil government. The Minister of Justice for that government, and we're not talking, some horseshit thing, they would not agree to extradition unless, because of their laws, which I'm also a citizen of that country, they could not agree to the extradition unless the United States Department of Justice agreed that there would be no further prosecutions up to and including IRS. Okay, so the State Department signed off on it. The Department of Justice signed off on it. He received a copy of the letter. They approved the extradition. This was after 3 years of battling it. And the battle was almost next to nothing. It was like, walk in, walk out. But your sentencing agreement, again, my agreement was for 54 months. The court did an upward sentencing maneuver to 70 months for me because they said that my activity had been conducted offshore. Now that's all fine and dandy, but the point I'm going to make is that 2 years out on probation, I get slammed by the IRS for $5.1 million in back taxes. I have a copy of the letter that says they can't do that to me. They completely disregarded it and just said, bullshit, we're going to do what we want. And so they started proceedings. So I went ahead and talked to a tax company that, negotiates stuff. And my tax loss got down to $1,500. That's my obligation from $5.1 million because, as you can see from my surroundings, I'm very poor. So there are many, many options, but you're focusing on the wrong thing. And I'm going to say this now, and then you guys can all argue about it later. You're focusing on the wrong thing. You need to focus on rebuilding your life when you get out. You already know enough about you're not going to get killed unless you do something stupid like steal or walk up and, tell the head of a car that he's an asshole. You're not going to get beat up unless you're a total dick. And you need to start focusing on rebuilding your life for when you get out. Really, you do. You're going to go to jail. You're going to go to prison. You're going to get the sentence they give you. Just accept what happens to you. Obviously, you want to look at your options and get the best deal, but don't get hung up in it. Start rebuilding your life now. What happens when you get out? Do you have more than $50 from the work you did for the 3 months before you got out while you were on work assignment in prison? You want to start setting yourself up with family, friends, places to stay. If you have driver's license, get it renewed, whether it's due or not, so that it tries to stay out there as long as you can. Because I'll tell you what, if you're in prison and you lose your license because it expires, you're going to have a problem getting it put back together. So take care of all those things. Rebuild your life for outside now. If you're talking about Social Security, please don't file until you get out, then file. Don't worry about all these little sideline things because you're going to go to jail. You're going to be in prison. That's my best advice all the way through. Start worrying more about what you're going to do when you get out of prison than what you're going to do going in. You've already gotten all the best shots you're going to get. That's just my opinion. That's just me. Okay.
All right. I hope that helps somebody. I'm going to move on to the next question here. Wayne's old friend says, can other federal prisoners know if you come from a family with money? And if yes, will they treat you worse? Some
No.
people make it known that
they're on the internet.
Yeah.
Huh?
All depends on what the internet says about you. Remember?
Some people make it known they come from a wealthy family. Other ones don't want nobody to know. But, what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Jason.
Not really. I mean, okay, some people come in bragging about how much money they have.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah.
And really, at the end of the day, we all spend the same amount on commissary,
Yeah, Chad. Remember Chad?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah. He made it known that he had all this money, and oh man.
Yeah.
Chad likes yogurt too.
At the end of the day, spending limit is the same, no matter if you're a millionaire or if you're just getting by. So, big deal.
Some of those guys at the poker table too, playing big time money.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, yeah, there was them.
Right. I mean, that other Sean, I can't think of his name.
Oh yeah, and the one that we didn't.
Oh, I remember him. The guy got his ass kicked in the bathroom upstairs.
Yeah, let's tell him that story, guys. This guy was a real dick, man.
Go ahead, Jason. You knew him better.
Yeah, I mean, okay, he was
a dick.
Yeah,
and an addict.
He was trying to sleep, and there were some paisas who were playing dominoes and making or cards or something, and they were making noise, and they woke him up, and he walked around just shooting off his mouth, talking about these fucking paisas have no respect. And so the next thing you know, he said that within earshot of some paisas. And so next thing you know, he got he literally got the shit kicked out of him. They got him on the ground and kicked him until he shit on himself, and then they let him up. And so
he got his ass beat
that
pretty
was
good.
one time he got a few. There was a few incidents he got into.
yeah,
Didn't he got into it with who was the little the Jewish guy that was always running around making the wheels and deals and then upping the price? Mark, remember?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everybody,
Yeah.
he was a hustler though. I mean, that's that was his hustle.
Yeah, I had forgotten all about that guy.
I did too. You know, people thought he was whack, but he was pretty fucking smart.
He actually was,
He was a white collar guy, and you didn't think he had a brain in his head. But if you sat and actually had a decent conversation with him, the guy was pretty sharp.
Yeah, he was the kind of guy, if you wanted something, you could go to him to get it. He's going to charge you, though. He's going to promise you one price, and then, when it comes in, he's going to want double the money now. But if you wanted something, he found a way to get it for you. You know what I mean?
You remember what I said in the very beginning? What I said in the very beginning is one of the hardest things you're going to get used to is the different idiosyncrasies of people in general, races, cultures. A lot of the Hispanics are very family oriented, and if you're not part of their family, but you come from their county or their town or their state or their clan or their cartel, then you're considered part of their family. And I mean, they celebrate everything. And you better get really fond of burritos, man. Get really fond of burritos.
Yeah,
you can't live without a burrito.
A burrito out of anything.
Yeah, they sell tortillas on commissary, guys. Flour ones and corn ones. They sell packages of beef and pork and carnitas and chicken, and they sell cheese. They sell I don't know how many kinds of hot sauces and Mexican spices, and they sell everything, the beans and rice and they sell everything on commissary to make burritos with, guys. Just so you know.
I'm gonna turn the light on. I'm sorry.
All right, Jason, this one's kind of for you here from Matthew. And Matt is one of my regulars. It says, Jason, can you read that, Jason?
Yeah. Can you briefly
go over your story? No pressure if you can't do it, if you don't want to do it. But
you got a story. You're a federal criminal. Oh, hey, before you start, Jason, that guy that asked about background stuff, got to remember, and then you can start. You got to remember that everything that you say is going to be listened to, and your background is going to be on the internet. They put your case on the internet.
Jason, don't get into details or anything. We're not here to you know what I mean. We'll just keep everything in generalizations.
Yeah. I mean, trying to think what. Basically, as I said, I was charged with conspiracy to commit wire and mail fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. I lived and worked in Costa Rica. Business was not licensed. And eventually, some people within the organization had conflict with each other, and one of them, basically in fear for his life, ran to the embassy and started telling tales, naming names, and the next thing you know, a lot of people ended up doing a lot of time. And so I was sentenced to 103 months, and the way it pretty well broke down across the entire group of people is if you were ratting on other people, then you got 5 years or under. If you just pled out and owned up to your own responsibility, you got anywhere up to 10 years. And if you went to trial, which some guys did, some guys that I knew very well, then they they got 25, 30, or even 50 years. And so I pled out and I got 8 years and almost 9. But I really don't know what all it is that you're wanting to know about my story, but if you could make your question a little more specific, that might be helpful.
There you go, Matt. Thing from TJ. Never lied. I caught hell trying to replace my license and social security card after being gone 30 months. Not sure what he's referring to. He did some state time like 20 years ago. Maybe he's talking about that. Not sure. So I'm waiting on some more questions. Guys, I need to do a quick little 30-second commercial here, if you don't mind. This is for Chime Bank. So this is called a Chime Bank account. Now, when I got out of prison, guys, I needed a bank account. And a regular bank wouldn't take me because of my wire fraud and everything else. I came up with a fraud alert when I tried to open a bank account. So I went online and I found out about this Chime card. And what it is, it's a checking account and a savings account. It's online. It costs nothing. I could have $1 in my account. I could have $10,000 in my account. They never charge me a monthly fee, guys. If a check comes in, like a personal check, I got somebody my aunt sent me a $20 check. Where am I going to cash it? Well, Chime has an app on the phone. I take a picture. It cashes a check. It just takes about a day. Here's a chance for you guys to make $100. How'd you like to make $100? All you got to do is go to the link that I've got in underneath my description, or it's right here. I just posted it, and if you go there and you sign up for this Chime card and you deposit $200, they're going to give you $100 the next day, and then you can close the account, take it out, take your $100, spend it whatever you want. If you got a job, you tell your boss you're going to switch bank accounts. Order this Chime card. The link's right there. The card comes in about a week. There's never a fee. You can take money out of any ATM in CVS, Walgreens, Walmart. Doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't cost you anything to load the card. If I want to write a check to my landlord, I go online. I put my landlord's name and address. They pay for the stamp, the envelope. They mail him a check. Or it works like a Visa credit card or a Visa debit card. It also has a savings account that pays 2 to 3%. It kind of comes and goes. And it's a great card, and it costs nothing. There's never a monthly fee. It's better than a checking account. And they took this card here, was able to get me this card here. So it's Chime. The link's on there. Make yourself $100, guys, and then close the account. I hope you keep it, because I've had this card since I've been out of prison 2 years now, and I'm not getting rid of it. This is a great bank account. Thank you, guys. That's my commercial. So also, when people sign up for this, they're going to give me $50. You get 100. I get 50 if you sign up. So that's why I'm doing the commercial. But
hey, Sean, don't quit your day job, all right?
No, I know. Let's see. What do we got here? Wayne's old friend says, will banks close your existing bank accounts if they find out you are a felon? They closed mine. They froze and I couldn't open one up. I tried to switch banks. I had Wells Fargo. They fucked me. And I went to Chase. I went on like 3 or 4 other banks. Nobody would take me. A fraud alert came up. Yeah. How about you guys? What's your experience with that?
Had problems opening bank accounts at first. Then, actually, this brings up another point. Whatever resources that your local community has for ex-felons, get involved in them, whatever they are, because you never know what it can lead to. A group here in Charlotte is actually focused on helping ex-felons reestablish credit and banking and things like that. And I went to one of their seminars and found out that Charlotte Metro Credit Union would actually do banking business with me. And so that's who I bank with. And they've treated me very, very good. and I've actually taken out a couple of credit building loans. And when I first got out of prison, I was a total ghost in the credit reporting agencies. And just 2 weeks ago, I pulled my Equifax, and I now have a 716 Equifax just from banking, paying my bills responsibly, and taking out a couple of small loans. One was for $120. The other was for $500.
Yep.
So
Wayne says, if yes, I need to get a Chime account soon. I really recommend Chime. I'm not just I am doing the commercial form, but man, it's helped me so much. It's a real bank account. They just, it's make yourself $100. Try it out. Chris, back to this question, Chris. Will banks close your existing bank accounts if they find out you are a felon?
Well, I can tell you it's a real interesting situation because I own a bank. I was a bank. That's why I went to prison. My bank was in New Zealand. It was called Maxim Gold Bank Limited. It operated for 21 years. The United States government taught me how to make money, and I pissed them off. It's just that simple. I pissed them off. My arrogance and my positioning caused a great issue for me in court. But regardless of that, here's what takes place. You don't know a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Tom is back.
Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, sorry, I had a technical problem and then a business call. And,
that's all right. We got when Chris is done, Tom, we'll have you answer this question. I'll put it on the screen again.
What most people don't understand is that anytime you're involved in almost any crime anymore, the first thing that's going to happen, either Security Exchange Commission or the FBI or Homeland or somebody, it's usually going to be the FBI because everybody's going to filter stuff through the FBI for investigation. They will, in fact, look at your banking records. They'll run your Social Security, try to find out everything they can about your banking. And what will take place, and I can honestly tell you because it happened with me, had they come to me and they said, hey, Maxim, we want to talk to you about your client, this guy. And they gave me the guy's name. We pull it up on our database and we have his account in front of us. And they're saying, well, we're looking at him for whatever. And we think that he might be using this account in his activities that we're investigating. I promise you straight up, dead bang, 100%, no ifs, ands, or buts, because I would have done it. I would have frozen his accounts dead straight right then and there. And that would have been the end of his banking history with us. So that my liability as the bank would have been ended. And my alliance to holding a position of law would have been established immediately. So any bank is going to immediately freeze your account. Now, what does that mean? That means no money in, no money out until there's disposition to your case. And then the disposition would be determined by the U.S. courts. And if you're foreign soil, then you're going to have some discussions with their people and their attorney general's position or their Department of Justice. And that argument is going to be what happens with the money. Depending upon the amount of money or how badly they want to dick you, you're going to have that argument take place between governments, but I can promise you're never going to see it again. What happens to you as a felon coming out is that, as Sean said, it's like when you get pulled over by a cop. Everybody gets pulled over by a cop, and they run them. They do what they call 1029s and 1030s. They run 28s and 29s and 30s on you. That's NCIC and CINI. Okay, they run those national. It's not tri-county or tri-state. It's national. So they pull you up. Your background screen, if you're normal and you don't have any risk, your background screen on their computer comes up in blue. If you're a felon, it comes up in red. And now you're going to be treated completely different at that traffic stop. So the thing thank you, Matthew, but no, I'm not that important. The thing is that you've got this screen that comes up on your financial background. I had numerous relationships with numerous banks in the United States. We bought and sold bank paper between each other, and we were in the tens of millions. I got shunned by Chase and accepted by others because I had that built-in relationship. And my accounts had not been used. So before you get sentenced, and I'm not trying to tell you how to break the law or avoid the law, I'm telling you how this banking system works. Go open an account in a bank that you haven't had an account in before you go to jail, before you're sentenced. Put $100 in it, put in whatever the minimum is, and try to make it a free account. And that's the only appealing thing about Wells Fargo is you can have a free account if you make a certain amount of money deposit. Try to find one like Sean's talking about with Chime. Give the card to somebody that you know. Give the account number, all that. Put it all locked away. Remember I said plan for when you get out. Don't use the account and keep less than $50 or $100 in the account. No more than $100. When you get out, that account will be there for you. As long as the service fees don't eat up your balance. And since that account had nothing to do with your case, you'll have that account when you get out. Otherwise, yeah, they're going to freeze your account. They're going to try to go after every asset you have. They're going to take every flipping thing that you have in this world, including the sutures that were used on your vasectomy. So be very much aware. And that's going to go with anybody that you're jointed with, such as your wife, girlfriend, a lease agreement. If you have furniture in that lease agreement, don't think that you're going to be safe. You're not. They'll come after that if they think they can get something out of it. So remember, plan for your future. Go open that account now. Leave it off. Don't talk about it with anybody. Just leave it off to the side. When you get out, you'll have that account. And that account is already established. It won't be touched by a bank freezer. That's how it happens. Did that help?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. All right, Tom, you want to answer this? Will banks close your existing bank accounts if they find out you are a felon?
We lost him.
We lost him again.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Did you hear the question, Tom?
Yes. Probably. There's no definitive. It sort of depends on what the situation is. If it's a financial crime, yes, they will. If it's just a drug crime, they may not. I don't think there's any rules and regs for sure. I think it's just sort of if you're high profile, they're going to shut you down.
All right. So I don't have any more comments. I want to ask all you guys if you can remember your first day coming into Florence. Now I know Jason, you came from below and all that, but still, your first day coming into Florence, guys. Can you guys maybe talk some memories about that? Jason, I'll start with you. Do you remember when you first got to Florence? Can you describe that first day to the audience there?
Oh, let's see. I came through the transfer center in Oklahoma. And that was actually kind of weird because at the different levels of the Bureau of Prisons, you're pretty much housed with comparable people. You're not around a lot. I mean, you're not around people who are doing life sentences and stuff at a low in a camp. So there's just a different group of people because these are all people who are going to get out one day and they have something to look forward to. Whereas when you're in the transfer center, you have no idea who the guy is sitting next to you when you're eating a meal. This is someone this could easily be someone who's never going to get out of prison ever. And he doesn't care about disciplinary cases or anything else. I mean, this is just...
That's right. Both of you guys had to do the Con Air, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So is it anything like the movie Con Air?
Absolutely nothing.
No.
Nothing at all. It's a Boeing 737, and when you take off and when you land, they want the window shades down so that you can't see out onto the airport. And
How about using the bathroom when you're shackled on that airplane? I hear they won't let you use the bathroom.
Oh, fuck.
now
You don't
they'll
want to.
once you're flying, they will offer the opportunity to go to the bathroom. It always sucks because you finally gotten comfortable in an uncomfortable seat. Now you have to move because the guy next to you wants to go to the bathroom. So that always sucks. My most memorable experience on Con Air was we flew out of Pittsburgh, and there was this young Hispanic kid who was sitting next to me, and he had never been on an airplane in his life, and he was he was almost pissing his pants scared. I mean, he was just terrified of being on an airplane, and I guessed correctly that since he was Hispanic, he was probably Catholic. And I just kind of asked him, I was like, "Hey, bud, would it make you feel better if you prayed the rosary?" And I mean, he was damn near crying, and he's like, "I don't know how." And I was like, "Well, just follow along with me." And after praying the rosary with the guy, I mean, his entire demeanor changed. He was able to look out the window. He was tripping over the clouds and just how cool it was and everything. And I mean, I'll always remember that kid because, he was scared to death. And I had to sit next to him for a good 4-hour flight, I would say. And maybe 3, seemed longer. But, after going through the transfer center and then getting on a bus and, we're riding on a bus from Colorado Springs over to the camp, and, there's guys next to me and in front of me and behind me that are going to the medium and the USP. And these are guys that are looking forward to a totally different way of doing time than what I was looking forward to. And, I didn't even want to say, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to a camp," because there's a lot of resentment toward campers from the people who are in institutions that get locked down a lot. One comment that one of my cellies at the transfer center made is, He's like, "Those damn campers spend more time walking our yard than we do." I was like, well, you're the knuckleheads that are always getting locked down. Yeah. So that was a weird experience. I was pretty grateful to get off of that bus and then getting processed in. It's like anywhere you go in the system, you're always going to have to go through this process all over again, where they search through your stuff. You have to change clothes. You've got
bend over, cough, spread your cheeks, all that stuff. Yeah,
you've got this cop sitting there Peter gazing while you're changing clothes.
He's just being jealous.
It's always the same thing. And then it's like getting into the dorm, and it's like, what? The door's just open and you can leave whenever you want.
So I remember when you came in, and because we were watching you walk down the pathway, when the new guys coming in, I remember when you first got there, man. I think I was one of the first guys to come up and greet you and say hello, but
Yeah.
I remember you were at what? I can do this here. I can do that. I can go in and out the door. All this
Yeah.
stuff.
Because at a low, you only get to move every hour.
Yeah. I don't know if these guys know what movements are, but maybe explain that to them.
Well, like, okay, at a low from 10 minutes before the hour until the hour. So like from 9:50 to 10, you're allowed to walk out of the door and go to, say, the library or to the gym or outside rec or go to work or something. You're only allowed to move during that 10-minute slot. Whereas at a camp, the door is open and you can go, I mean, you can wander around all the time. So at a low, you kind of have to plan your day because, you know, if you go to the library, you're going to have to be there for an hour at least until the next move. So getting to a camp and having that different level of freedom where you can just walk in and out from 6 in the morning until, what was it, 9 at night?
9 at night, sundown. You couldn't go on the track, you know, when it gets dark early in the winter, but you could still go out till about 8:30. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of a shock to have that level of freedom after having been at a low. So,
were people nice to you at the camp your first day or two? The inmates?
Yeah, most people were pretty cool. Chad approached me right away. Hey, do you have everything you need and everything? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good.
Hey, I give Chad that. Chad was very good at that. All the new guys, he always had a starter kit for him and stuff, you know. And you know, I always had shower shoes or some coffee or something to give a new guy I tried. Chris, how about you? What's your first time coming to Florence, the first day or two? Do you remember your experience? And you had to do Con Air too, right? You did Con Air as well, right?
You and I talked about this, and I laugh every time I think about it because it's true, and we both experienced the same exact thing. I came out of MDC LA, which is a holding facility, right? And pre-trial, pre-sentencing. I came out of MDC LA, and I got on a bus, and I remember getting on the bus, and I saw people because MDC is a high-rise. So you have floors, right? And you never know who the hell's on the next floor, you know. And it goes by custody level. In other words, how severe of a criminal are you? So I got on the bus, and I remember seeing on the bus as I went in, I said, "Oh fuck, I am dicked. I am so dicked." Because on the right-hand side of the bus, or no, it was the left-hand side of the bus, they had cages halfway back, and there were men inside these one-person cage, kind of like, you know, like a Hannibal Lecter kind of thing, right? They were chained up to the max, and steel door on it with holes in it, you know, and as you walk by, the guy's like looking at you from the side of his eyes like, "I'm going to cut your balls off and eat them." And you're like, "Oh, fuck, where am I at?" And then you got guys that are all gangland and shit. They're all tatted up and everything. And you're sitting there going, "Oh, my God," you know, and here I am. I'm well past middle-aged, and I'm going, "Oh, shit." So then we went from there in that experience. We went from there to San Bernardino County Jail. What a shithole. They had three busloads of us, all stuck into one holding room. And the holding room held about, normally would hold probably about 90 people. They had 170 of us in there. You didn't go anywhere near a toilet because it was just nothing but running piss on the floor everywhere else. You wanted to stay away from it so you didn't get your foam beach walkers all fucked up with piss. And of course, a lot of the guys who have, you know, that was the first time they'd seen a flush toilet, I guess. You know, they didn't know any better, so they would get back on the bus with you. We got on that bus, and we went to an airstrip out in, oh my God, what's that prison out here in the desert in the San Bernardino area? Everybody talks about, huh?
Mendota? That's Fresno.
No. Mendota's going north. This is out here in the high desert. It's it has all three levels out there. It's just Vacaville.
Victorville or something?
Victorville. Yeah, Victorville. So we went to Victorville, just outside of Victorville. We got on an airplane, Con Air. It's like Jason said, It's like being in the cheapest economy seat you're going to ever buy. We got on the plane, and as soon as we walked up, we were all outside. There was about 1,000 of us out there, and they had 3 airplanes. You know, I mean, you're getting out of your bus and you're standing in line. It's like looking at an old World War II movie, and they're getting ready to get into the MPVs out there, you know. But they got us in there, and as we entered, they handed us a brown bag, and that was a lunch. And between the time they handed it to us and the time we took off, you were supposed to eat the lunch. You're handcuffed. You're shackled, and you're handcuffed. Some guys are black boxed. They're not going to do anything with that black box on their cuffs, right? So 2.5 hours on the flight. It's like Jason said, you got to have the shades down. I got in trouble straight away because I didn't want to eat my lunch right then. I wasn't hungry. And I asked the guard, and it was a female, Marshall, and she says, yeah, you can eat it later in the flight. And then the guy came through and bitched me out because I hadn't eaten it yet, and he just grabbed it out of my hand and threw it in the garbage because they were collecting garbage, right? I said, okay, so this is the way it's going to be. I said it, you do it. I get it. You know, I ain't shit. My natural first response was, really? Fuck you. Watch this. That didn't work out really well for me, so I had a miserable flight. Okay. Then we landed, and here's what you and I talked about, which is the same. We landed in Colorado Springs, and I thought, oh, wow, this is cool. Look at this place. This is really nice. And we're driving through the countryside, and it's like, oh, this is really wonderful. We get to Florence, and all of a sudden, boom, you start to climb that hill, that little tiny sloping hill, which I painted the traffic signs and the traffic lines on that, I don't know, 4 or 5 times in my stay. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the prisons start to show up, and you're like, oh, fuck, where am I? It's nothing but prisons in here. And then they pulled us up.
11 prisons in Fremont County.
Yeah, and more. They're building another one now. But anyhow, you get there, and they pull the bus up purposely in between the yard of the medium and the yard of the ADX. There's no yard. That's just driveway. So they have us exit the bus, and they call your name, and you exit the bus, and they stand you in a line, and the guards are out there, the marshals are out there with shotguns and shit, and you're standing in a line, you're thinking, oh, fuck, this is bad, because all of a sudden you're reviewing a World War II movie and you're getting executed, right? And they played it. They played it off. And you see all the chain link and the barbed wire and the concertina wire and all these things, and they played that shit off like you're fucked. And then all of a sudden, some lady steps out, a grandma type, a real sweetheart of a person, and she says, well, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so, Mr. So, you come with me, and you get in a little van,
yeah,
a Dodge van, and then they drive you to the camp, and you're looking at a place that has no fences. It looks like a college campus.
Yeah, without the women.
You know, without the women. It looks like a college campus, and you're going, oh, this is a piece of cake. And you go through your induction, you know, where they register you and give you all your paperwork and shit, and then tell you, you know, tomorrow you come in and get your clothing. You gotta use what you have right now, and they give you a little bed kit, you know, so that you can sleep, and then your bunk assignment and all that. And that's the last of the nice stuff. Then everybody treats you like shit that's a guard for the next 60 to 90 days. They purposely slap you down every chance they get so that you know that you're a prisoner. They purposely mentally slap you down and are not necessarily rude and abusive. They're curt and sharp.
Well, the first CEO you met was Miss Morris. Remember her Miss Morris?
Oh, God.
You had the problem with female authorities.
Yeah. Yeah, what Sean's laughing about that. I was pulled off to the side and jacked up right away by the camp's manager, and she says to me, she was a dyke anyway, but she says to me, she was a good-looking dyke, I'll give her that.
Her husband that was a guard at another prison, and they got divorced, so she transferred to Florence, so she didn't want to work with him anymore.
Yeah, she divorced her husband, and then transferred so they wouldn't work together.
Probably, yeah.
More than likely, but anyway, she told me I had trouble with women in authority, and so did the good doctor, right? And
that's right.
I said, really? I said, you know, in my board of directors, I said, I appointed my members of the board. I said, we had 12 board members and 6 of them were women, and I appointed them. Actually 7. I said, I don't think I have a problem with women in authority. Oh, fuck, that was the end of it right there. I paid hell for the next goddamn 8 months over that. But that was my experience. You pull up in between the United States' most secure prison and a medium, and you get out of the bus on a gravel piece of nothing where there's no witnesses, and these guys are standing with 12 gauges and rifles, and you're going, oh, fuck. And that's it. And then all of a sudden everything changes. So
you remember how we had when we
Hey, Sean, I've got to go.
Okay, man. Thank you, Jason.
Jason, it was good seeing you.
All right. Hopefully you'll come back
Jason.
come back again, Jason. Appreciate it. Chris, you remember when we had to go work at the ADX Supermax when we get, driven over there, but we had to sit in front of that little shack waiting for them.
Oh, yeah.
And we could see that
snow,
we
sleet.
used to watch that bus come up. It parked over there between the penitentiary and the ADX. And I used to watch the inmates get out of that bus. And usually it wasn't campers. I mean, once in a while you'd see the lady come with the little truck or something and take them away. But yeah, I know. I watched all the shotguns on them and everything. And they were separating them because some were going to the medium, some were going to the penitentiary. And the ADX Supermax, I think they come in they come special delivery. They come in a car kind of thing, right?
And they came in an armored car with a car behind them and a car in front of them. You remember when they transported Chapo?
Yeah.
And nobody knew when he was coming in, but as soon as he came in, everybody in the camp knew. They helicoptered him in to a discreet location closer to Florence, and then they armor carred him in.
Yeah, armor carred him in.
I remember going out. We were leaving a couple times. Remember coming in a couple times. We had to wait at the ADX.
Oh yeah, we'd be stuck there stuck there for
we get stuck for 45 minutes in the fucking snow.
Yeah,
but you remember this one time we were there, because I remember talking to you. I said, Jesus, Sean, we're not that guy. They had that guy come out. He was in the car. He had a muzzle on like a dog.
Right.
And you could see his hands were cupped like this, and he had a muzzle on. So that guy, he was like a true Hannibal Lecter. But listen, guys, there are some very sick people in prison. There are some people who actually, and I hate to say it, they actually belong there.
Oh, yeah.
They can't get along with anybody else. Yeah. And so if your spider sense comes up, the best thing to do is just nod, smile, shut your mouth, and walk the fuck away. Because there are people in there that you have no clue of what their real background is. This guy that he was talking about, Mr. Ming, he was really good with me, and I don't have a problem with him. But he was an enforcer for the Vietnamese gang over here in LA, one of the gangs in Little Vietnam. He would walk in and just beat the shit out of whoever they told to do it. And he liked it. That's what he did for years.
Yeah.
He would turn on you in a heartbeat. I've seen him do it. I've seen him just out of the clear blue dead of night, just walk right up and just punch the shit out of somebody. And they never saw it coming. He didn't walk up behind him. He walked straight up to their face and just cranked them. So you never know what the real story behind somebody is. You don't know if they're ex-law enforcement, because in the camps they mix everything. Even in some camps they mix chomos in, but mostly they go to some place where
they're not allowed to go to a camp. Some of them might slip through, maybe never came there on a different charge and never got caught. But
this is what I'm saying. You could have a 3-time murderer there, and he could be in there for wire fraud, and you're never going to know. So the best thing is just, you can be friendly, you can be nice, but you don't really give up a lot, because it could hurt you.
Right.
I never told anybody about my first part of life, but everybody seemed to know it. So at that point, the best thing to do is to not deny it. It was to embrace it and say, yeah, that's exactly what I did. Is there a problem with that? Because it's a job, dude. I'm in here with you right now.
Yeah.
So, that's the whole thing. That's why I say the internet is going to be there, and don't think that there aren't people who are in there who are going to have people on the outside check your paper. They will check your paper. That's the sentencing guideline paper that you got. And
there's a website called Pacer, and they pay like $5 and they can look you up and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have their girlfriend or somebody else do it, because a lot of these cartel guys want to know who they're dealing with inside. So just mind your own business and do your thing, and they'll assign you a job. My first assignment job was landscaping, But again, I'm going to say, make sure you have a current copy of your Social Security, your Social Security card, your birth certificate, driver's license. Try to get your license renewed so that you have the full 5 or 7 or 10 or whatever it is they're going to give you on your license. If you have those 3 documents in your possession, not on you, but in a safe place that you can go get them again, like your parents, if your wife. And again, guys, if you're going to prison, I hate to be the one to say it, but if you're going to get more than 3 years, kiss your wife goodbye and tell her to go ahead and file divorce papers. She's not going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's true. It happened to me and everybody else I know. So
yeah, you say 3 years. I think you might survive. You won't survive a 5-year sentence with her waiting for you. That's very rare. It happens, but you say even 3 years. Yeah, and I've seen it even less time too.
But the point is that you have something when you get out. I keep emphasizing, I'm going to always do it. Plan for when you get out. Birth certificate, driver's license, Social Security card. If you have an offshore record of birth, have all of those records in a safe place that you can go get them. If you have a safety deposit box, the feds are going to seize that. They'll find out everything that you have that's financial. You know, the best place, somebody said it one time on the show, is dig a freaking hole.
Yeah.
But give your documents to somebody that you trust completely, like your parents. You know, they may be angry with you, but maybe they're not going to, shun you. So that you have those documents, because if you have those 3 documents, you can pretty much get everything you want done. When you get out,
I also tell the guys who call me, go down to the DMV, get a duplicate driver's license. They'll give it to you. You know, you can get a duplicate. It's going to cost you $31 or something. And then go to the Social Security office and get a duplicate Social Security card. That way you have those duplicate ones to have somebody to hold, and then you have the other ones that you had originally to take in with you. And if those get lost or something, you know what I mean? It's worth paying that $30 to get the duplicate driver's license or state ID. You know, I always tell people that. I even do that now. I have 2 driver's licenses now and 2 Social Security cards. Because if you lose your ID, you know how hard it is to get another one. You can't even prove who you are to get the original back. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Set up for what you know. What is NCIC? Is it what was the old, he referenced CINI? CNI. No, it's not the old. The 2 are 2 separate. Okay, CINI. CINI. That is a national criminal database. And that database is for current wants and warrants. And what it basically does is it ties all tri-county nets. In other words, you have 3 counties surrounding a city. It ties all tri-county nets together so that if one tri-county area in California issues a warrant, they're going to see that warrant in Utah, et cetera, et cetera.
I didn't know that.
NCIC is a national criminal database. So if you have, I've got a low battery in my mic coming up. If you have a conviction, it's going to show. If you've been charged, it's going to show. If you are an ex-felon, it's going to show. All of these things are just wants and warrants. So all they're doing is running wants and warrants on a national base. CINI is still in existence and still very much used, but it's closer to NCIC right now. It doesn't separate so much. It just gives you a broader scope.
Shows you and I know. I thought that was a TV show.
Yeah, that's NCIS.
Yeah, and so your battery's getting low. We can wrap it up. It's been an hour and a half, but let me just get these last couple of questions here. Were your showers unheated?
Let me change, Sean, so that.
Huh?
Just a second.
Okay. I'll see if I can answer. Were your showers unheated? Can't even get soap to suds up. Our showers, we had always plenty of hot water. Always plenty of hot water. One time the pipes broke, or they had to dig up new pipes and lay them out, and we didn't have water for like 3 days. But you know that happens. But no, we always showers. Never had a problem with the showers being cold. Not at Florence Federal Prison. And Wayne's old friend, have you guys heard of Ross Ulbricht when he was staying at the 80? I have no clue who that is. Maybe Chris knows. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I had to turn off my headset because I ran out of charge on it. At least I know how much charge these guys have.
Okay. I never heard of this guy at the ADX, Ross Ulbricht. I don't know
Nope,
who
never
that
heard
is.
of him. We
Yeah,
had all the bomb.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a terrorist, serial killer, or I don't know. We never got to see me and Chris worked at the ADX. You know, we had to go through the double fences and get frisked and metal detectors, and we went inside, you know, but we were in the warehouse and the food service area and that, and we didn't really get to walk past any of the other hallways. We worked in the employee cafeteria sometimes in our culinary class, and we got to meet every guard, CO, medical staff, everybody that worked in the ADX complex would come through and have lunch, and we'd serve them their food. And so we got to see them. But the only inmates I ever saw was Chris, when we sat in that old employee break room with the metal tables, and you could see inmates walk. You could see their legs and their knees. I'd see them walking, and there'd be 4 sets of boots walking with them, and that's the guards. So 4 guards carry an inmate when they got to get out to go see medical or wherever they're taking them. They're transported by 4 different guards. Wow. Tom's calling me. I'll get him real quick. Yeah, Tom, I'm still live. Are you coming back on, or what's up? No, we're actually on a roll, I guess. So I don't know if Chris has time to keep on, but yeah, come on in real quick. Chris, are you you got to get going there, Chris? Can you hear me? I lost you now. No, I can't hear you, Chris. Unmute Mike. Let me see. I'll get you.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that was on me, I think. Said
Yeah.
to unmute the mic.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't have anything pressing right now.
All right, yeah. Okay.
Chris,
thanks.
good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Tom. I said hi and how you doing? Good to see you earlier, but you were having too much trouble. You all sprayed
Well,
away.
I was having some trouble, and then I started work again today, and I made a bunch of phone calls, and everyone's calling me back right now. So
Oh God.
Yeah.
it's sort of a
there
crazy
we
day,
go.
but that's good news.
Yeah, that is good.
Someday I want to have a chance to just visit you and I and kind of talk through things. Maybe we can make some money together. Who knows?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm all about finishing my retirement in the next 5-year total.
I hear you. Me too.
We're not kids anymore. It's like I always tell everybody, Tom. And Sean, you can adopt this and use it. I'm too old to give a shit, and I'm too young to care.
That's right.
I like that. I like that.
I use that on every 35-year-old girl I see.
Well, I'm still looking for a girl. I haven't had any luck yet, but I got some old ones that like me. But I'm not gonna. I'd rather be alone than be with an old lady. So I'll just
Be both.
See, I'll take the old lady. I want a woman older than me. Even you can have the young ones, man. No, I want to have conversations. I want something meaningful, man.
There's plenty of old gals out there looking, Sean. So be careful what you ask for.
And they all have a little tiny dog named Poo Poo, and the little tiny dog sits on a pillow right next to their computer as they're on the dating sites telling you that they're physically fit and very attractive at 430 pounds.
Well, that's enough to share for 2 or 3 people. That's a little too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Tom, we were talking about our first day when we got to Florence. Maybe you want to these guys that are getting ready to turn themselves in, because this broadcast will, as soon as we're done, it gets right on YouTube. I don't even have to push a button, and it immediately goes on the reruns. So I know some of these guys are going to be watching it. I'm getting Chris, I think you're up to 500 views on one. We did a few videos, but one of them's up to 500 views already. I've been checking.
Yeah, I remember you told me that one warden came on and talked with you, and
Robert Hood. He was the warden there for like 5 years, in 2002 to 2007 or something. Yeah, he watches this channel, and he gave me thumbs up and everything. And yeah, and he's talked to some of the media and press. There's little articles about him, how he says how horrible it was for the inmates, and he was the warden. And he says this after he's stepped away from the federal system. I'm sure he wouldn't say that while he was working there, but no, he appreciates what I'm doing, so that was nice.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that after we did that one episode where you said there were 700 views on that one.
Yeah, that you know, I met 2 different wardens at the ADX. You know, a new one came in halfway through my sentence, but they treated me all right. You know, they would talk to me. I mean, they wouldn't have long conversations with me, but you know,
I remember the one new guy, the last guy that got
he was kind of bald headed, kind of right.
Like he looked like he might be Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
And he walked up to me and he'd say, "What did you cook today special?" And I said, I only cook what's on the menu. And he looks at me, he says, "Really?"
Yeah.
And then I tell him what I cooked. He says, "Is this your mom's recipe?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Go get it."
Go get it.
And I would, you remember, because I would cook the plates for the other guys because they didn't want to eat Mexican food. They wanted to eat something else. Sometimes,
right.
Sometimes just basic down home. And I take it out the shack, right? So
yeah,
that guard, or that he was the facility warden. He had all the prisons.
All of them. That's right. All of them.
He treated me pretty well. I can't say that he was rude or anything, but
no, he treated me with as much. I didn't eat with more respect than I probably deserved because I'm an inmate doing time. But on Sundays he'd come over and ask me to make him an omelet. Remember when I was on the he'd come over and have an omelet right off the grill and kind of chat it up with me. You know, not they keep their distance, but some of those COs and the women and stuff would tell us about the date they had at the bar last night, or some of those guys were we knew about their kids getting graduating high school and what some of them kind of got a little chatty with us, talking about their personal lives.
The big Mexican gal,
Miss Torres.
Miss T, she walked up to me one Christmas and she goes, "Come here." And she taps my arm. I walk over and she gets me in a corner, not a corner, but a closed door, or an area where there wasn't a bunch of people. She goes, "I want to tell you this." And I said, "What's that?" She goes, "You know I love you." And I went, "Oh shit, what does that mean?" Freaked me out.
No, she was like that. She's the mother hen.
And she goes, "You know I love you, so this is going to be from the heart." And she told me that she wanted me to have the best Christmas I've ever had, even though I'm locked up, yada, yada, yada. And she was the only one and she said, "You're a foodie, you cook, you do that, and you do everything so well, and blah, 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 blah." And, she just played me up, right? And I'll tell you what, though, that woman, if you got on her bad side, she would slam your shit up against the wall and break every bone in your body.
Oh, yeah, if you were on her bad side, for sure. But that's why you always stay on her good side. You remember new guys would come in and she'd try you out on the line making the trays?
Right.
And if you just fell behind, she'd tap you and you had to leave.
Yeah.
And you'd get maybe 1 or 2 more chances after that. And then if you couldn't do it, you never worked the line.
Yep.
Yeah. I remember.
But this is the way it is. I'm sure, Tom, you have your experiences with him too, where you just have the guards have as many diverse personality defects or infects as we had, and they have to deal with it on a different level because we're one person that's part of a population that's completely different from their population, their lifestyle, their world. They come in, and it's like I always said, if you're an asshole guard, guess what? You're going to be an asshole guard long after I leave here. I'm going to be whoever I want to be. So you live with that. But they have to face all of these different personalities all at the same time every day. So some of them get a little off center. You agree?
Yeah. One time I was working with Miss T and I asked her, I said, I saw you come to the RDAP graduation. It wasn't my,
oh yeah.
Before, and she had a new husband and stuff. And I said, congratulations on getting married. She goes, "Yeah, thank you." And I go, "Somebody told me you hadn't had a drink in like 20 years. She goes, "It's been 25 years. I went without a drink." And I asked her, "Do you do AA or something?" She goes, "No." But she said, "Sean, I started drinking again. This new husband, he has 2 stepdaughters and they hate me." And she said, "They hate me. And now I'm back drinking again." So, they tell us their personal life. You know what I mean?
And whether she should stay married to the guy.
But they're not supposed to, you wouldn't think they're going to tell us all about their personal life like that. And our conversation went on. And I was telling her about the AA meetings, that we were doing at the visiting center. And she said, "I'd love to sit in on one, but I know you guys are rich." But I got her a schedule for Pueblo AA and she took it. And she said, "You know what? I just might go try this AA meeting. Thank you, Sean." So you never know.
Hey, Miss Morris invited me into the medium. She invited me into her. She went to finance, right?
Oh yeah, she did. Yeah.
So she invited me into her office. I was in painting the halls one day, and she invited me into her office, and she poured me a cup of coffee, and she chatted with me for about 20 minutes.
Wow.
And I freaked out. I was like, "What the fuck is she doing?" You know, because I'd have jumped her in a heartbeat. I would have had no problem banging that girl, but she just appealed to me, right? But
now, Tom, you worked at the education department at the ADX too, right? Or one of those?
Yes. No, I was at the ADX education department for about 18, 20 months.
So those correctional officers there, did you have little conversations with them too, or did they?
Oh, it was very personal in there.
Yeah,
there were
very personal.
6 cops in there, and there were only 2. They started off with 4 inmates, and ended up with just 2. We got very close to them. They treated us very good, gave us double lunches, gave us all the candy bars we wanted. They treated us very well over there.
See, you guys hear that out there, the audience? I mean, all correctional officers aren't that bad. I mean, we just named a few that they're not all that bad. Some of
Most
them
are pretty. Most of them are pretty nice guys.
Yeah. There's those ones that come over from the penitentiary to get some overtime at the camp, and they're gonna search every locker and make it like Roman and all those.
Well, we
there's
bring
gonna
that.
be the super cops, yeah.
We bring a lot of that on ourselves, though.
I got along really well with Roman. I didn't have any problem with him.
I did in the music room. Roman was good to me there, and he'd print me up all my music for my guitar and stuff. Now he was always good to me there, but I just watched how he did other people. He's always trying to catch somebody.
Tom, when you were at the ADX, you were in education. Did you get to see and help design some of those the brain tests that they were puzzles and stuff? Where you could see how these guys performed.
Oh yeah, I did all their grading of all their testing. Sent their testing into their units. Did their GED. Was their librarian. Ran their betting operation so they could bet on all the sports games.
Hi, Katrina.
We were busy. It was a busy job. It was an intense, busy job. You did not have too much time to sit around and chat. You were busy the whole time.
Yeah, I remember a couple of the guys that were in education, we transport with them, but they were talking about how, some of these guys, these ADX guys, the really secure prisoners, how some of these guys were freaking geniuses. There was just no way around it. They were just flat out smart.
Oh no, those guys studied all the time. I could tell by the books that they would order, the library books that they would take in, and Terry Nichols used to find mistakes in every book he read. He would find 3 or 4 mistakes.
Oh,
he would send
really?
me a note and say, "Would you do me a favor and send this note to the publisher and tell them that they made a mistake on this word or that grammar?"
Shit. Wow.
Terry Nichols was one of the smartest ones.
Really? Wow.
Such a devious bastard, but he was smart. I would hear this all the time.
Do you guys remember hearing about the inmate at the ADX that somehow broke into the TV and made a remote control so he could change the channels? But it was a wire, it had wires coming, and they caught him. Do you know you guys remember that story? Which inmate was that? Because they were pissed off. They moved him right out of that cell when they found that remote control. But he was able to take apart the TV and make a remote control so he didn't have to get out of his bunk to change the channels. Do you remember that, Tom?
Let's say hi to Katrina. Hello, Katrina, whoever you are.
Yeah, hi, Katrina.
Don't remember that, Sean.
Hey, Tom.
Maybe that was before your time.
Didn't they rotate their cells once a month?
What's that?
I said, didn't they rotate their cells once a month, Tom?
I don't know about once a month, and it wasn't every inmate, but the high profile ones. I think they
had a classification, and each section they were classified based upon their security risk.
Yeah,
and so each section was treated a little different. Some of them never moved, but there wasn't that much movement because I had to do I had to distribute the library books and the educational packets and their mail, and then their shipping out of the various things they made that they shipped out. No, they didn't move around a lot in the 18 months I was there.
Some of them had a step-down unit, right? Or the ones that are getting 5 years to the door. Because they're not all doing life in there. Some guys got a 20, 30-year sentence, but they're getting out. I remember some of them were doing 7 habits, Tom, right? They built cages for them so they could have a classroom? You
I
remember
had-
that?
Yeah, they had the cages in the gym. They didn't use the gym for anything, but they had about a dozen cages in there for education or consultation or visits from lawyers.
The camp built the cages. I painted them. I painted.
You painted them.
Yeah, I painted 8 of those 12 cages. Air guns.
I remember somebody was painting murals in there too. Maybe it was the cages. They brought a crew over there to paint a mural inside of the gym, the ADX gym, something like that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Katrina's got a son that's in federal prison right now, and he got resentenced while he was in there, and now he's waiting sentencing, and they've given him diesel therapy, guys. They're moving him from here to here and here. They're treating him like hell because I've talked to her on the phone. So Chris knows all about the being transported from different prisons and stuff. But Katrina, if you want to ask some questions about that, these guys might have some answers for you that I don't have, Katrina. I see you figured out how to work the live comments too. She was telling me I don't know how to talk on the live comments, but I guess she figured it out. I don't know who's.
Gentlemen, I got to run.
No problem.
But it's always great to talk to you and see you guys. And Chris, I'm going to get your number from Sean and give you a call.
Okay, Tom, please do. Good to see you.
All right.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank
you.
you.
All right, Tom, thanks.
Thanks, Sean.
Yep. Katrina's got the question. Thursday morning, 10 a.m., my son's sentencing either home or a camp. He's been in county for over a year. I thought he said he was in there for 3 years already, but yeah, so he's finally getting sentenced on Thursday morning. That's good. But he's been doing a lot of Katrina, he's been in there for 4 years already. Then he got resentenced. I know something, I can't remember everything, but
so what's her question?
No, she's just letting me know. It's not really a question. It's just a comment. It's not really a question.
Well, I honestly God hope they send him home if he's in a county.
Oh, she's saying she could teach us about diesel therapy from what her son has been through.
I'm sure she probably can. But, at this point in my life, I don't really want to learn anything more about what I know. I just kind of want to slowly but casually forget about some of the things I do know.
Yeah. Well, hell, it's going on almost 2 hours, so we probably should wrap it up. Katrina's saying, yeah, he's been in there 4 years and 3 weeks.
Ouch.
Yeah, Katrina, you kind of came at the end of this broadcast. I had 4 people on here at one time, and Alex couldn't make it. He had to work actually at the end, and I guess Hugo, he's taking his daughter out for her birthday or something. He was going to try to make it, but anyways, we'll do it again. I'll do this again, Yeah,
I would have liked to see Hugo and talk with him. I haven't seen him in a while. Okay.
So I really appreciate you coming on here, Chris, taking the time out of your day and to relive the prison experience. But, I know what we talked about is going to help. There's going to be people out there that watch these reruns of this broadcast, and I know it answers the questions for them. People, you remember what it's like not knowing.
I can't say it enough. I'm going to say it again. The whole success in dealing with this prison thing is to plan for when you get out. Not 6 months from when you get out, but the day you get out. Know what you're going to do. Have a plan. Follow that plan through. You're going to find right now that the probation department is major jammed up right now. And in California, it's so hard to get arrested right now. It's ridiculous. I'm serious. I'm being
you're right. I know.
It is so freaking hard to get arrested. It's absolutely crazy. If you're under 18, and even if it's a felony with no violence or no weapons, you're going to get cut loose. All these snatch and grab robbery guys you see, if they're under 18 years old and they get caught breaking the glass, they're going to send them home.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like when you and I were in Florence, where every 18 to 24-year-old drug mule that they nailed at the border because the cartels gave them up while they shipped another load in behind them.
Yeah.
To prison, So plan for when you get out, please, guys. Social Security card, birth certificate, the longest extension of your driver's license you can get. If you got those 3 documents, you can go. And here's the next one. Remember I said this. CarMax. CarMax will give you a loan if you have two things working for you. One, you have at least 3 months of a bank statement showing that your checks from your work is being deposited, and that right there is another subject. And
you can get that way at the halfway house. Yeah.
And or if you're receiving Social Security, they will actually give you a loan.
Okay, that's good to know.
Social Security is the basis of the payment. They can attach it. And the
All right.
car is the actual value of the loan. So you can start your credit with that. There's another company out there called Snap Finance. Look it up. Snap, S-N-A-P. It's based out of Utah. It's basically you buy something and basically it's a rental or a lease. And they report to all major credit unions. So those things will help. Okay, that gets somebody on the right track to establish their credit. I got my credit score yesterday. I'm a 734.
Woo! I'm 656, but I started off with like 511 when I got out of prison. So
I started out with 500 because I've been out of the States for 10 years.
wow. All right.
So,
all right, Chris. Well, let's wrap it up. I got to go make my dinner anyways, and I got to go start work. I got to work tomorrow. So,
I'm going to start looking for something different.
Yeah, everybody's hiring out there, Chris. You're in demand right now.
I am absolutely not concerned.
You can pick whatever you want right now. It's the best time to look for work, man.
Well, we all have to be careful of what we do because we want to keep our profile in position. Sure. We don't want to make a shitload of cash because they'll take it from us.
At least not now, not till we're off the paper anyways. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Which, by the way, I've got about 14 months, I think, 12 to 14 months.
Okay. I got 11 months to go.
Yeah, I think I'm 6 months longer than you.
All right.
Anyway, I hope and wish the best for everybody who's going through the process. Please do not be scared, be concerned, but do not be scared because you don't have anything to fear. Don't go looking for trouble you don't need. Just get along with people and be accepting. Don't be judgmental. As hard as that is not to be. Sean, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
All right. Thank you, guys. Good night. Subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. See you in the next video. Good night.
Cheers.